I've been working almost for 40 years on water resources. So this is I'd like to start. But then in these 40 years, I was searching still that can I find a person on this globe who says that I have nothing to do with water? Do you have anyone here? You say obviously no. So that is the thing that no one can say, and even the non-living things say that I can detach from water. I have nothing to do with water. Okay, so that's why my 20-minute talk or even less. I think. Oh, that's very good that some time is coming here, so I'll be reminded. And I like to, otherwise water is such a subject I can talk for hours or days even. So let me start with some statistics because you may not be knowing or maybe knowing also. There are two things which I'll start with. One is the water cycle, and you all know water cycle. You all realize water cycle everywhere while even sitting in this room also. Water cycle starts, it's a cycle, so I think it can start from anywhere. Let it start from the evaporation. Where is the water? Evaporation will take place. I'm not going to ask you a question, otherwise it requires so many questions. Then the evaporation, water vapors created, goes up, condense, comes down to earth in the form of snow and rainfall, it's called precipitation. The rain falls, there is a lot of processes, infiltrate, is run off and goes again meet the ocean. And that's why it's called the water cycle. That you all realize, you must have seen, I'm sure in India, you know, when there is a summer and then rain comes, everybody enjoys and you go on side, you see that. You must have thought then why the rain comes and how the rain comes and all that. So, okay. Beyond that, there are two things, like the statistics. The problem is that I think I have used the word problem definitely because I'm forced to use this. Everybody, as I ask you, you have to connect with water, but then you have to connect with water problem also nowadays. All sitting, because the old days were different. Nowadays you are sitting with a lot of water problems. So let me start with the statistics that why the problem is that for one reason is this, that our country, India, has almost 17% of the world population. 17% remember. Water resources in our country is about 4% of the whole world. So you see, we are 17% and manage with the 4%. You can imagine what to do. In addition, the land resources are 2.7% of the whole world. So here is this misbalance actually. So this is one thing, but then this is something which you can't do much. You can at the most control the population, but you can't change the land resources, you can't change the water resources, it's natural. The second thing which you have heard all, I'm sure, this is climate change. And nowadays the scientific community, of course, is scaring you also with the climate change. It is not like that. Climate change is a purely natural phenomena which has been occurring since several millions of years or thousands of years at least. Only thing is that this time at present you are able to talk about this, you are able to get scared, or you are able to analyze that because we have data, we have information. Earlier we didn't have. So this is what the climate change is happening. It is warming the globe. That's one thing. In addition, we ourselves are warming the globe. So of course I can't discuss you more, but I'm sure you must understood that lot of air conditioner, lot of cars, lot of aeroplane, all those things, they all warm the globe, or your atmosphere at least. You don't realize that. You just think at 100 years or not even 150 years ago, there was hardly any air condition which you could think that in your house, but now it's all around you. So this is called global change and also the climate change. Both are going negative for the water resources. If you want to just know that why, how I'm telling you about climate change, how can you realize that? You see this, you observe the rainfall, let's say, for example, because water, that's the source of water. Rainfall is the source of water. Just observe the rainfall, maybe you'll take a couple of years or 2-3 years. I came here I've not belonged to Hyderabad, in fact, so I came here in Hyderabad. In the month of June itself, right from 10th June, it used to rain every day 6 o'clock in the evening until 10 o'clock. And when I was working in the office, I was telling our colleague that those who are really sincere, they get punishment. That if we don't leave the office at 6 o'clock, we'll get back totally, whole cloth, everything else. That is not happening. You see that, you observe, maybe this year monsoon has already gone. Next year, if you see that, whole month of June or when the monsoon sets, because monsoon is the way we get the rainfall actually. In different parts of the globe, there are different systems. Monsoon, we have got the rainfall with the monsoon system. So this has changed. It is because, you see the whole, I already told you what a cycle. It moves up and condenses. And then, so you see the clouds will be there on your city, because you all belong to Hyderabad city, I'm sure. You see that the clouds will be there. 12th June is the time when the monsoon sets in this country. The clouds will come. It will not rain. Because the cloud to rain, you need the conditions. Like a condition is still much less warm or cold condition, so that the water vapor can condense and fall down. So that doesn't happen. Of course, you get a very good breeze, no doubt that's very make you pleasant and all that, but we don't get water. After that, what happens? Suddenly, in a week or so, all of a sudden, whole night it rains and your city gets flooded. All the city gets flooded. I mean, recently Chennai got flooded, Bangalore gets flooded, Delhi gets flooded. It's because what is happening, that is the climate change actually. It used to rain every day, as I told you earlier, that 6 o'clock or 10 o'clock, and after that you sleep very well, you get up early in the morning, very nice morning, and go to work. But it doesn't happen. Now, the several days rainfall comes in one day or in 1 hour. So you can imagine what can happen. I mean, you know, this is a common, actually the water resources is a citizen science, in fact. You can just understand if something which you are getting, or let's say milk you have to eat, drink at glass every day, 10 days milk you've given to you, 1 day, what will happen? For any phenomena, if that excess happens, what will happen? So 10 days rainfall comes in 1 hour, not even 1 day, 1 hour or 1 night. So it cannot run off, gets accumulated. And then next 10 days will be dry, or let's say 5 days will be dry. So what happens, the impact is there that earlier the system was that used to fall on the earth, a part of that percolates and goes to the groundwater. Actually, I could talk much more on groundwater, and to make you groundwater visible, I'm sure though nobody have seen the groundwater which is under the ground, but then time that will not permit me. So a part of that infiltrates, goes into the groundwater. A part of that runs off, and obviously, you know, everyone is so clear that it runs from the lower, because always the water will run from the higher side to lower side. It's simply due to gravity. A part of that goes back again to the atmosphere, the evaporation or the intercept or something like that. That's, you can say, 3 parts, right? So when 10 days rainfall comes in 1 hour, you can imagine what will happen. Lot of things will run off, because the percolation process is slower, much slower than the rainfall intensity or the speed. So that's how this whole thing. So this is what is the impact of the climate change. Or this is what is climate change for water resources at least. So we get less water infiltrated in the groundwater. That's why I am sure you all must have seen the borewell or realized this, or must have heard that the borewells have gone dry or the water levels have gone down. You are not getting water. You are deepening. When I started my stay here in Hyderabad in monsoon, you used to take the water from the bucket in the dug wells. Actually, now dug wells of course have gone. You must have seen. Most of you have not seen the dug well also. See, the borewell have come because technology is there. Borewells have been drilled, and the technology of pumping deep is there. So then, what happened? We spoiled our whole system. So whole system has been really spoiled now. The only thing is that's why I'm talking here, that you should know your rights as well as duties also towards water. So that's how, in few minutes, I can tell you what is required now. That's why I think if it's given to you as my write-up, a very brief write-up, it is for the community as well as individual. You have different, the rights and duties as an individual or as a community also. Much more on the community side it should go. The problem is that, little bit the government problem also is there, that the water is declared as a private property. If you have a piece of land, you are an owner of whatever, if suppose you find a petroleum or you find a mineral like gold or diamond, the government will not allow you to explore that. You cannot explore, you cannot exploit that. But water, there is no such rule. So that's why what is happening, people, water is found everywhere mostly. You don't have to go and search. All those things are all false. You will find some water everywhere. That is the philosophy. But depends on how long it can sustain. That is, sustainability is the important. And for sustainability, you need some knowledge. You to do something for that. And sustainability is important. You see this, now United Nations program is running up to 2030, and everything is called Sustainable Development Goal, SDG. So sustainability is very important, and sustainability for everybody's life. For you also, you need, whatever you are doing something, you have to see that this sustain to your children, and they are, beyond that also sustain, and sustain a good health, so that's a good way. That's why it is our duty also that whatever water resources, it's a natural resource actually, whatever natural resources we are having, water resources we are having, we should conserve it. Conserve in the sense, it's not that you keep inside the almirah, but you must use, because it has to be used, it's a cycle, and it's dynamic, so but then don't spoil the resource, right? So that you have to pass on to your next generation also. And they should give, as you have got from your last generation, you have to pass on to the next generation also. So that's how you have to do a lot of things. You have to understand it a bit, because there are a lot of misunderstanding goes regarding water resources. I can't talk to you everything, but then I will suggest you think it over, because thinking is very important, and a lot of things are common sense in water system. And then read it little bit from whatever sources you have got, and then act for this management. Management is important. Nowadays, as I told you in the beginning itself, the statistic which definitely goes against us, because at a 17% of population, which will increase also, that you know, we have 4% of water resources of the world. So managing with 17% and 4% definitely is a misbalance, and you can't do much in that. So you have to be very careful. Well, what you can do is that you have to be very careful, aware, and see that this is a very fragile resource, so you have to use it such a way that it can sustain, it can manage that. I will tell you very simple thing now, since we are talking about groundwater. I'm not going to talk much on the groundwater because it's a very big field. 2-3 things I'll say. First of all, this should be taught to students also. Because we don't, the water resources, I think if you pass already intermediate or even bachelor degree, then only you are taken as a subject to study that. So when you start, by the time you already lost your 20-30% of your life, and you can't act much. So it should be started teaching right from the primary school. That second thing I can tell you in a short time, that it is very simple to understand the groundwater at least. It is just like your bank account. You have a bank account. The groundwater under the ground is just like your bank account. In your bank account, what do? You put a lot of money different ways. Somebody gives you a check, somebody deposit cash, somebody transfer it like that, so you make a deposit. Then you withdraw. And you all know that you cannot withdraw any money more than what is deposited already. It is exactly like that, your groundwater, because groundwater is important than surface water. Surface water is not available everywhere. Groundwater is available almost everywhere, and everybody, at least in Hyderabad, is concerned with groundwater. So the simple philosophy is that as much, it is like bank account, as much money you deposited, you can withdraw, you have the right to withdraw only that much money. Whatever way you withdraw, whether you take out from ATM or you use this as a bank transfer, UPI or whatever. But the total amount you can withdraw is very simple rule, that is deposited. It should not exceed that. Exactly same thing you have to do here. The problem happens that you have a bank manager, and if you start withdrawing more, he will stop you. In this case of groundwater, there is no bank manager. So you go on doing that, and that's the reason why the groundwater levels are going down and down, and you are putting up much more problem by drilling a deeper bore well, putting a very high pump, costing a lot of energy in that, and is spoiling the whole system itself. So that's why recommendation is there that the community should come forward and they should manage the groundwater, thinking and knowing that what is there inside, how much is there inside, how much we should draw and plan properly, make a water budget, and then water balance in that case. So this is what I can tell in this short time. And otherwise, in water resources, a lot of things are to be told. You have to also think about the quality. Now the time has come that the water resources are not enough, and the quality also getting deteriorated because some people sometimes they play mischief. So that you should avoid. You stop doing that, and you should ask others also to not allow others also to do that. Actually, that's very simple. Now the time has come that you have to do water recycling. One thing which I can suggest you, whether you are in the city or where you are in the village, you have to now conserve, because I was talking about the bank account. Now your deposits are much less than your withdrawals, right? So what do you do that? In that case, you have to earn more. You do the second job, you do overtime, and that overtime and second job in case of water is water conservation. As I told you that due to climate change, the infiltration, the percolation which goes inside the earth is not enough because of the system is changed, that the intensity is changed. So you have to artificially conserve and allow the water to percolate and stay in the groundwater. So everything cannot be done by everybody, but then keep in mind, at least the first thing is that you have this concept in mind, that you have to conserve water and preserve under the ground. Under the ground is important because we are living in the arid countries or semi-arid countries. A lot of evaporation is there. Evaporation is a loss for you. That's a withdrawal from the account. So you see that if you are able to conserve and allow them to go inside the ground, as it stays in the groundwater, whether it is in your, but the problem is that that may not stay near your house, inside your, below your house and all that. That's why I already told that we have to go for a community management. A community has to come forward because there you can assess all those things and stay there. So this is then, and don't spoil the quality also. Such a way, there are different ways you have to read that. I can't discuss that in any time. So with this, I think I finish my talk. Thank you so much.